Terry Fox started his Marathon of Hope 45 years ago, and I guess I'm living proof of that hope because in 2019 there was no cure for melanoma cancer, which I've now had twice.
Gone through cancer, survived, and not.
My aunt passed away from cancer, and it's great to raise awareness.
I'm running for my grandpa and my uncle.
And I'm running across Canada in one leg to try and raise as much money for cancer as I can, and to try and be an example to other people, and to do my best I can. I'm not doing the run to become rich. I'm not doing the run to become famous myself. But at the end of the run, I'm not going to get a cent of it for myself, and I don't want a cent.
I think, holy Moses, this guy's got a lot of guts and courage. I trained a little bit, knew what it was like to run, but to run 26 miles every day on one leg for the disease that took his leg. So I followed his run as he ran across Canada, like a lot of Canadians, I guess. So I wanted to meet him as much as he wanted to meet me. So they set it up. Terry had finished 13 miles here in Toronto that morning. He was staying up at the hotel here up in Yorkville. And he had no idea I was coming. I was in my shorts and my t-shirt, and I walked into the room and I said, hey, would anybody like to go for a run? And I'll remember that day for the rest of my life. The emotion, the expression on his face, his brother was there, the other, supporters and volunteer workers. And then we ran down University Avenue.
And I was blown away. It was like 10 deep sometimes on the sides of the road, and there was cash flowing and people screaming, and Daryl Sittler was talking to me, and Terry was in front of me, and people were plastered up to the windows of their offices.
I was at a lecture at the top floor of the Mount Sinai Hospital in Toronto, and I was dragged out of this lecture by a group of people, dragged to the window, and this wonderful entourage of Terry Fox, surrounded by other people, was just coming down University Avenue. I was blown away by that image. It's never left me, and subsequent to that, I've been involved in every Terry Fox run since, and I'm just so thrilled to honor his memory.
As Terry ran into Nathan Phillips Square, he was greeted by celebrities and dignitaries and a crowd of 10,000 enthusiastic Torontonians.
I was thinking, what could I do as a Canadian to show my appreciation for what Terry's done? I went home and got my All-Star sweater. I didn't play in a lot of All-Star games, and that All-Star sweater was pretty precious, so I had it in a brown paper bag, had it with me. When we arrived at City Hall, I gave it to Terry, he put it on, and that was pretty special for me, and obviously for Terry also.
The thing I remember most about Terry here at Nathan Phillips was that when he was speaking, I remember his voice cracking, and he becoming emotional, and I really felt like it was sinking in for him that he was making a difference, like that he was being noticed, and that all his efforts weren't for naught. It was powerful stuff.
To me, the only important part about the publicity is cancer can be beaten and the Marathon of Hope. And I'm just one member of the Marathon of Hope. I'm no different from anybody else. I'm no better, I'm no lower, I'm equal with all of you. And if I ever change the attitude myself, then there's no use in continuing. There's a little old lady who ran out in the road with tears in her eyes yesterday. She gave me a $20 bill. There's a girl who gave me a flower and $2. She's a Marathon Hoper. And they're no different than I am. They're all equal to me. And they're just as important to this as I am. I hope you are all members of the Marathon of Hope. I hope you're all donating. I hope you're all giving. Because there's not one person in the room, there's not one person in Canada, there's not one person in the world who might not get cancer. And I said in the room there that there's over 2 million people live in Toronto, and there's over 25 million who live in Canada. And you can't tell me when each one of us can die of cancer that there's not $1 that each of us can give to make it be in a $25 million run.
Terry had a dream of running from one end of Canada to the other. He took a long and winding route through the country and had run over 5,000 kilometers. He was just east of Thunder Bay, Ontario, when things started to change.
Terry knew earlier on that something was wrong. It was very rare for him to want to go and see a doctor. So when they stopped in Thunder Bay, everybody knew that something very serious was happening.
I had noticed a little bit of hardness in breathing. Near the end of the day, 18 miles, I was coughing and choking and had pain in my neck and my chest. And I did 3 more miles, and I decided I had to go see a doctor. And it was discovered then that originally I had primary cancer in my knee 3.5 years ago. And that the cancer had spread, and now I've got cancer in my lungs. And we got to go home and try and do some more treatment. But all I can say is if there's any way I can get out there again and finish it, I will.
Terry had to stop the run and fly home to Vancouver to undergo more cancer treatment. He would pass away in the hospital.
I've said to people before that I'm going to do my very best.
Hi, who am I here with today?
Hi, I am Mrs. Gibson Marola.
I'm here with
Owen Brady.
Hi, I'm here with
Ms. Cooper.
Mr. Holmes.
Miss Corrigan.
Mrs. Malkin.
I'm Mrs. Genesi.
Okay, and how has cancer affected your life?
Well, that's a loaded question.
How has cancer affected your life?
Do you have 10 minutes for me to tell you?
And how did cancer affect you?
It affects me, so I have a family member actually who's currently fighting cancer. She's been fighting cancer for over 800 days now, so it affects me with my family.
Oh, cancer's been a big influence in my family's life. I've lost a number of family members to cancer. I have a family member right now who's currently in the hospital battling, and I have had a couple of cancer scares myself. And yeah, it's had a really big effect on us. It's scary and so frustrating.
It affected my life in many ways. I was playing hockey at the time, and I was on my way to my dream of playing professional hockey, and it kind of got taken away from me. But at the same time, it also gave me a lot of meaning in life.
So my first experience with cancer was my dad was diagnosed and passed away actually really quickly when I was just before I went into grade 10. But I myself have had cancer. And then it's also pretty sad. My husband was diagnosed with cancer and passed away from it as well. So cancer is a huge part of my life. Every single one of my family members has had some form of diagnosis. So for me, it's really important to raise funds and to, for the research to continue so people like my child won't have to deal with what I've had to deal with.
Well, my mother had cancer, and thankfully that's in remission. And my father had cancer, and he passed away from it.
Oh, okay. I'm so sorry.
Thank you.
And how has cancer affected you?
I've had many family and friends who have been afflicted with cancer. It's my hope that one day we come to a place where cancer doesn't exist and we can find a cure. And hopefully things like the Terry Fox Run do that for us.
I found my passion for the human body, and I'm now studying kinesiology at Ontario Tech University.
But the good part is that we've seen so many amazing people who've helped us, and all of the doctors and the nurses who work with us, amazing people. So there's a good sense of hope. It's quite different than it was when I was a kid. When you got cancer, that was it. There was no diagnosis, nothing else. But now, there's always some hope.
It's affected my family directly because my daughter had stage 4 cancer a few years ago, but I'm very happy to say that yesterday she turned 9, which is a miracle in itself. So I don't think people realize how grueling the treatments can be and what it requires to actually go through dealing with cancer. We might see it from the outside, but when it's an immediate family member, it can be a really challenging process. So donations to organizations like Terry Fox or Canadian Cancer Society, Those things, I think they go a lot further than people actually realize to help families who are struggling in their time of need. So my family is always very appreciative of these types of events and the people who give their time and their energy and their money. And I hope that one day they can realize the great effect that they've had on the people who are in the fight.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.